Last week, I talked about the hero's journey, and that may have put the question in your mind, is there a heroine's journey? And yes, there is, and that's what I'm going to be talking about this week.
Are you an entrepreneur, small business owner, or consultant looking to boost your authority, influence, and impact? The Author Switch podcast with best-selling, award-winning author Carma Spence is your answer. Tune in for actionable advice, powerful strategies, and engaging interviews to turn on your author switch and take your business to the next dimension.
The Author Switch.
Hello, and welcome to the Author Switch podcast. My name is Carma Spence, and I help executive coaches, business leaders, and consultants write, publish, and market their client attracting books so that they can grow their businesses. Now, this week, I'm going to be talking about the heroine's journey. It is slightly different from the hero's journey because of a couple of things. One, it is more of an introspective journey. The hero is going out and conquering and discovering and fighting things, whereas the heroine's journey is more internal and going into and fighting your own inner demons. It is often based on the tale of Persephone. The goddess Persephone, basically, she was tricked into becoming Hades' wife by being, first of all, he kidnapped her, takes her into the underworld, and then as long as she doesn't eat anything there, she doesn't have to stay there. Well, he tricks her into eating a pomegranate seed, and so she now has to stay in Hades. But then her mother, Demeter, gets so upset that the whole world is drowned in a forever winter. So Zeus goes, "Yo, Hades, we can't have winter all the time. So can you let Persephone go and visit her mother every once in a while?" So he goes, "Okay." So half the year, Persephone can be in the real world visiting with her mother, and half the year she has to stay in Hades with her now husband. And that's why we have seasons. According to Greek mythology, Demeter is happy during the summer because she's visiting with her daughter, and then she gets sad, and that's why there's fall, and then she's really sad, and that's why there's winter, but then she starts getting happy again, and that's why we have spring. So that's what the heroine's journey is based on. But let me go further into the more details of the steps, just like I did with the hero's journey. And I will put a link to the hero's journey episode in the show notes, just in case you missed it. So here are the basic steps along the heroine's journey. First, there's the separation from the feminine. This is the initial phase where the heroine separates from her traditional feminine roles or expectations. It often parallels how authors might step away from conventional paths. Then she identifies with the masculine and gathers allies. This is sort of like along your author's journey, embracing the traditionally masculine sort of energy, like tasks such as getting a mentor and getting your allies, that kind of thing. So it's where the heroine's journey and the hero's journey overlap. Take the story of Mulan. She stepped out of her feminine role to become a warrior. That's the beginning of her heroine's journey. And then she made allies. So in the Disney version, that would be Little Pet Dragon. Then there's the road of trials. This is very similar to the hero's journey where there are obstacles. And this can be all those challenges you experience along your author's journey. You may come across your mind goblins. You may find it challenging to take each step along the way, which is why so many people don't actually make it to the finish line, even though they say, yes, I want to write a book. And they don't make it to the finish line because only 1% right now does. Anyway, this is your road of trials. And where it maps to Persephone's journey, it's like when she first she's kidnapped. Yeah. There's implications that she may have been more than just kidnapped, but we'll just leave that alone. And then, of course, she's in Hades now. She's in the underworld, which she's not happy. She's not happy. Those are her trials. Then there's the awakening of feelings of spiritual aridity. Now, lots of saints have experienced this, But this is where you have those moments of emotional and spiritual dryness. This is like when you're writing your book, you just don't feel it. You're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. You'd much rather, I don't know, wash dishes than write your book. These are moments where you feel disconnected from your manuscript. And sometimes you just have to plow through that. You just have to plow through that. The next step in the heroine's journey is the initiation and descent to the goddess. This is the inner exploration part. The way it maps to Persephone is when she embraces the fact that she's going to have to live half her life in Hades. But as far as a more archetypal idea, it's when you introspect and you understand your internal conflicts. So, for an author, there's two ways you can experience this. One is where you're fighting your mind goblins. You're like, where are these mind goblins coming from? What's at their root cause? By the way, I do have a writer's block assessment that you can take that can help you with this to identify what the root cause of your writer's block is. But it's also when you introspect to make your book deeper. If you really want your book to be different than all the other books about your topic, you need to dig deep into your own personal experience and knowledge and expertise. And sometimes that requires you to do a lot of introspection so you can dig up what's there that you may not even realize is there. And often you will need your mentor to help you do that because sometimes you'll see something and you're like, well, everybody knows that. And no, they don't really. So the next step in the heroine's journey is called yearning for reconnection with the feminine. This is where you want to reconnect with your true self. And how this manifests in the author's journey is when you start realizing all those things that you've been pulling together in your life and in your manuscript, and you can start seeing them together. In fact, I'm going through this part right now with my next book, The Author Switch, because I'm reading through all the research that I have accumulated. And I accumulated it in different topics that I knew I wanted to pull together. And as I'm reading through it, I'm like going, holy cow, I'm sitting on a gold mine of information here. All these things are starting to piece together. And I can't wait to write the manuscript. I just need to finish going through the research. But that's that part where you start feeling all that stuff come together and you're like, yes, I want this manuscript to be done and have it all the way I want it. And the next step is healing the mother-daughter split. Now, this is part of the Persephone journey is when Persephone's finally allowed to go and visit with her mom. But it also means the archetypal heroine's journey, this is the part where you reconcile your inner conflicts. And this is a very healing process. Now, I just want to say for a moment that even though this is the heroine's journey, and what I talked about last week was the hero's journey, that doesn't you need to be a male to do the hero's journey and a female to do the heroine's journey. Men go through the heroine's journey, women go through the hero's journey. They're really just frameworks for different kinds of adventures we go on in life. So the hero's journey is when you're going out and you're doing something external to yourself. The heroine's journey is when you're going inside and doing the work internally within yourself. So before I complete the next few steps, we're going to break for this quick message from our sponsor. Do you feel intimidated by the idea of marketing your book? Many authors believe that without marketing expertise, their book will struggle to find readers. The complexities of marketing can be daunting, leaving you feeling unqualified, unsure where to start. The fear of your book languishing in obscurity can be overwhelming. Introducing Serve Up Your Book, the ultimate guide to book marketing for non-experts. This comprehensive guide helps you lay the foundations with easy-to-follow strategies that demystify the marketing process. Build your audience using straightforward, effective techniques. Generate pre-launch buzz with step-by-step instructions that make it simple to create excitement. Launch your book with clear, actionable plans that ensure your efforts are impactful. Continue marketing your book after the launch with ongoing strategies to keep your book in the spotlight. With user-friendly advice and practical tips, Serve Up Your Book is designed for authors at any level. Get your copy of Serve Up Your Book available now on Amazon. Hello, and welcome back to the Author Switch podcast. I am your host, Carma Spence, and I help executive coaches, business leaders, and consultants write, publish, and market their client attracting books so that they can grow their business. Before the break, I talked about what the heroine's journey was, and I went over the first 7 steps of the journey. And I talked a little bit about how it was based on the tale of Persephone in Greek mythology and where those things mapped. And I also talked about how each of these steps mapped to the author's journey. And again, there's not always a perfect match. These journeys, the hero's journey and the heroine's journey, are archetype journeys. They are frameworks that you can use to tell stories, to do personal development, or to even just understand parts of your life. So, where I left off was the healing of the mother-daughter split. The next step is finding the inner man with heart. Now, where this maps to the Persephone tale is where Persephone reconciles with Hades and they become more equals, or she is no longer the woman he kidnapped and brought to Hades. She is queen of Hades, equal to Hades himself, just feminine. And how this fits into the heroine's journey is this is where the masculine energies and the feminine energies are brought into balance and integrated. And this is in your author's journey, this is often where all the pieces have finally come together. You've done your introspection, you've done your outrospection, you've healed any wounds that may have been uncovered, and the manuscript is coming together. The outline is done, the first draft is done, and you're probably at this point sending it off to the editor. The next is the union with the feminine. This is where you embrace your true identity and your values that you have uncovered during your author's journey. This is also, as you map it to the Persephone tale, this is when she really steps into her true queendom and is no longer just the daughter of Demeter or the girlfriend of Hades. She is queen on her own right. She is an equal to her mother and to her husband. And this part of the heroine's journey is where you become sort of king or queen of your own journey. You've now gone through the bulk of the process and you are feeling confident that now, with maybe a few more tweaks, that manuscript is ready to release to your audience. The next step is the heroine's return. Again, this is where Persephone says, Mom, it's been great. I really enjoyed my visit with you. It is now time to return and be queen of Hades. And I'll be back next year. And for the heroine's journey, this is where your manuscript is done, it's edited, it is ready to publish. Now, that is the heroine's journey. So, again, just to recap it, there's the separation from feminine, the identification with the masculine and gathering of allies, the road of trials, awakening the feelings of spiritual aridity, the initiation and descent to the goddess, yearning for connection with the feminine, healing the mother-daughter split, finding the inner man with heart, union with the feminine, and then finally the heroine's return. Now, how do you apply that to your stories, to your author's journey? You can use the main pieces to create your outline and how do they fit into that framework. So some stories you want to tell are going to fit better with the hero's journey. In fact, I personally think that the author's journey fits better with the hero's journey than it does the heroine's. But especially with memoirs, the heroine's journey probably fits better. But basically, when you're telling an introspective story, a case study, a testimonial, or even just your framework is something that requires more introspection than outrospection, then the heroine's journey might help you frame that story into a more cohesive one. You can also apply it to your own life and your own author's journey as a method of self-development. This is where you're going to identify the feminine energies in your project or your problem, the masculine energies in your project or your problem, and then figure them out, find where the rifts are, heal the wounds, and reintegrate. This helps you create relatable narratives. Again, also, if you're using the hero's journey, like I talked about last week, that really probably resonates more with a masculine audience than a feminine, but not necessarily. I love hero's journey stories, and I'm female. So there you go. But a heroine's journey, if you have a predominantly female audience, that may be a better framework for you to use or not, or maybe use both. You can use this inner transformation framework as a marketing tool as well. You can take your audience through a heroine's journey with each of your marketing pieces, blog posts, videos, whatever. Just take them through that journey so that they are rediscovering their own balance of self. And this also can help you balance your inner world with your outer world, because these are things that happen to us. Things are always going to happen on the outside, and that often causes a lot of people to ignore the inner world, but the inner world is just as important as the outer world. And using the heroine's journey framework, you can help reconcile those two worlds. So there you go. That's the heroine's journey compared to the hero's journey. Again, I will put the link in the show notes so you can watch both of them. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found value in it. This is your host, Carma Spence, saying ciao for now. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Author Switch podcast. If you enjoyed today's show and want to support its mission, here's how to help. First, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps my channel grow and reach more aspiring and established authors. Your ratings and reviews are invaluable. They help me reach more listeners and continue delivering top-notch content. To catch up on past episodes, including those no longer available on podcast platforms, visit authorswitch.com/episodes. There, you can choose to watch or listen to your favorite episodes at your convenience. If you'd like to show additional support, consider dropping a tip in the tip jar at buymeacoffee.com/Carma Spence. Your contributions help keep the podcast running and are greatly appreciated. Thank you for being a part of the Author Switch community. Until next time, keep writing.